Well, boys and girls, we did it. I have with me the Day 1 sales rankings for all the new Shonen Jump manga in the month of October, and I am pleased to confirm what we have all been speculating, but Samurai 8 is indeed the next big thing. That's right, Samurai 8 Volumes 1 and 2, which both released simultaneously, have found themselves on the very top of this chart, beating out the likes of One Piece, Demon Slayer, even Boruto. That is right, Kishimoto back on top where he belongs. Long live the king. What? What? I'm holding the list upside down? What? No, who the...
So is this the point where everybody jumps on the bandwagon now? Because, baby, once this gets an anime, I already see that this is going to have a huge fan base. But on top of that, if they're reading this one, 14 chapters in, we got what feels like a Kushina x Minato death.
Spy X Family. I don't know if you pronounce the X, because you know how Japanese titles can be, but Spy X Family does make a bit more sense to me. Anyway, this is a relatively new bi-weekly manga that began earlier in the year in Jump Plus, and it's been making some pretty huge waves lately. I started first hearing about this series a couple months ago, but just recently, it's kind of taken over. I mean, like, new series get buzz all the time. Like, I remember people were even hyping up, like, Tokyo Shinobi Squad, that shit. But this one seemed really special, because like, literally everyone seemed to be on board with it. And right around that time, Viz licensed the series and they made the whole thing available on the Shonen Jump app. So I was like, oh, alright, you're making it easy for me? Sure, why not? I'll give it a go. And I am here today to give my first impressions of Spy X Family. It follows Lloyd Forger, who is a spy. A very stereotypical spy. You know, he goes on missions for the government, gathers intel for them, dresses up in wacky disguises, yeah, all the cool spy stuff. He has a ton of secret identities, you know, all around. He's just a pretty cool guy. But then one day, he gets assigned a rather unusual mission. He's assigned to befriend some of the higher-ups of society to gain intel on them. And it's important they know this stuff because it can actually affect the whole government structure of the world. There's a truce between these countries that they gotta save and all this shit. But you see, he can't just show up with all these elites and start partying with them. He has to work his way to the top. And in order to do that, they devise a very strategic plan. The plan is for him to adopt a child, enroll her in this fancy elitist academy, and when the child excels in school, gets great grades, they will move up the ranks, and eventually Lloyd will be invited to mingle with all of the cool kids and gather any sensitive intelligence he needs. A few hurdles along the way, though. Of course, he doesn't have a kid. Being a spy, he has no time to be a father. So he stops by an orphanage and he picks out a little girl named Anya. He doesn't want to get too attached because he knows it's all temporary. But Anya, of course, really starts to take a liking to Lloyd. Mainly because she's actually a telepath. She can read Lloyd's mind, so she actually knows his entire plan. Anyway, there's one more hurdle they have to cross, and that's in order to enroll into this academy, you need to have a parent-teacher-student interview. Because the school is so fancy and traditional and pretentious, it requires that both the mother and father of the child are present. Which is when Yor enters the scene. Yor is an assassin. You know, she kills people for a living, but uh-oh, she's 27 years old and has never had a boyfriend. Her brother is starting to freak out. He's like, why doesn't my big sister have a boyfriend? So then she lies to him, says that she has a boyfriend. So just by chance, Yor runs into Lloyd, and the two of them realize they could form a mutually beneficial relationship by pretending to be husband and wife, because this way Lloyd can enroll Anya into school, and Yor can get her annoying brother off her back. And of course, Anya knows all of this because she can read their mind. This is great. This series is beautiful. It's so good. You know, we've seen stuff before, like spy families, superhero families, all that type of stuff. But what makes this setup so interesting is because you have Lloyd and Yor, who both have these crazy professions, but they don't know that about each other. They just think the other person is normal. But then you have Anya, this little girl, who knows everything. You know, if it were like a normal, mature person finding out these things, they'd probably lose their shit. But Anya, the 6-year-old girl, thinks it's really, really cool that her parents are criminals. So she goes along with pretty much everything they do. Children in manga can sometimes be hit or miss. They can sometimes be very, very annoying. She's a stupid kid, but she's also really infectious. You really grow to love her. And later on, she forms a rivalry with another character, which I won't get too much into, but it's pretty fucking hilarious. That's another thing. Of course, this manga, this setup is completely absurd, but it handles the comedy so well. And it's definitely one of the funniest manga I've read in a while. It really plays into how ridiculous it is. It doesn't hold back at all. But it takes itself just seriously enough for a lot of the scenes to be pretty suspenseful, entertaining, and it really helps you care more about the characters. That being said, there's also a lot of action in this manga. Now it's not some crazy battle manga where people are fighting every chapter. It's honestly more of like a slice-and-life thriller than an action series, if that makes any sense at all. But the stuff we do have here is really exciting, really thrilling, and the art is really, really fantastic here. I probably should have looked up this mangaka. I don't know if he or she have done anything else before, but this is some very, very strong stuff. Character designs are very good, very appealing. Like I mentioned before, the action is fantastic, has some great flow. Yeah, so really nothing but positive impressions based on the first 15 chapters, and I really, really like where the series is going. They've been gradually introducing some new characters, new conflicts. Oh, it's so cool so far. So yeah, I definitely think you should read it, like, immediately. It's fantastic. But what I find so interesting about this series is its success. Now, I'm a huge proponent of popularity doesn't equal quality, because it doesn't. But you see, when the second volume of this manga came out a few days ago, they announced that the series had reached almost 700,000 copies sold. If you're well versed on manga sales, you're probably thinking, no, that's some bullshit right there. But no, seriously, this manga has been doing crazy over in Japan. When all the new volumes came out, the only series that beat it were Promised Neverland, Demon Slayer, and One Piece, because they're Promised Neverland, Demon Slayer, and One Piece. But above Boruto, Black Clover, Jujutsu Kaisen, have this random series out of nowhere from an unknown author, like brand new, and it's pulling these kinds of numbers. That's so crazy to me. And I can't say it's not deserved, because as we just discussed, it's absolutely fantastic. And it doing so well is great news for us, because just a few days ago, Viz actually announced that they are going to be releasing it in English next summer. That's great. That's so early for them to announce that. Like I said, the second volume just came out, and we're already getting confirmation of an English release. And you know this one's guaranteed an anime. There's only 15 chapters out. It'll probably take a while. But I would not be surprised if, like, the minute enough content is out to make a 12-episode series, they're greenlighting that shit. Spy X Family really is the next big thing. Not some bullshit generic battle manga that people have seen 1,000 times before, but this really fantastic, unique, and creative series, and I'm so happy for it. I love it so. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Spy X Family and its success. Please check this one out if anything I said interests you. I'll see you guys soon for my Mob Psycho 100 review.